What's going on, everybody? Just out here in the backyard, doing some reflecting on the season that was. As y'all that follow my channel know, I was lucky enough to win Angler of the Year this year in my local club. Super proud of that accomplishment, but I've just kind of been you know, thinking back all the decisions I made, all the key moments, all the things that, you know, ultimately I didn't need to do anything differently, but you know, if the opportunity presents itself in the future, because this is hard to do, you know, what would I do differently in these situations? What would I do the same? And just all the kind of stuff that you think about, and you know, when a season's over. And I actually I was thinking about a lot of the key fish that I caught and the times that I caught them, and you know, what I was doing and all that kind of stuff. So this video is going to be a look back. I think there's 14 of them, of some pretty key fish catches. Usually these are obviously going to be some of the bigger fish that I caught of the season. But yeah, these are just club tournaments, no state tournaments, no national tournaments, just club tournaments. Some of the best fish that I caught, key fish. So yeah, I hope you enjoy it. I did it a little different this time. Got some narration over the fish catches, so hopefully maybe you might see something that you could take and apply it in your own lake. So anyway, hope you enjoy it. So we're just going to go ahead and start with the first event of the year. This is event number 1 on Beaver Lake. I've never really done that well in the cold part of the winter time. The water temperature is about 49 degrees right here. It's about 7:30 in the morning. I'm just trying to figure something out. Throwing a little medium diving crankbait on some 45-degree angle banks. You know, it's the first event of the year, and the last thing you want to do is start out in the hole. So I'm basically looking for anything at this point just to give me a clue. And you can't have a good start without catching the first fish. So this is the first fish of 2022. Good first fish right there. Good first fish right there. Oh, that fish is so cold. Later on in this event, I actually ended up culling out, I think, a 12.5 with like a 15.5 or something like that, with about 13 minutes left to go, which at the time proved to be a pretty key fish to get me up into the top 10. But as the season went on, if I wouldn't have caught that fish, I would have just culled this event anyway. We're going to go ahead and fast forward to the third event. The second event was pretty much a dumpster fire for most of the field. Third event, Beaver Lake South. It's about 8:45 in the morning right here. I'm throwing a black and blue jackhammer chatterbait. The water's a little dingy, and I just kind of thought that maybe that might be something that might could get a bite or two. I only have 3 fish at this point after fishing for about 2 hours. So I'm basically looking for something. And I'm about to pull up on a big laydown on the end of a shoal, kind of down south end of Beaver Lake. And I bet you this thing has been fished a ton of times, but for some reason, somebody missed one. I threw my bait right up in the end of that root ball And as soon as I made contact, he got me wrapped up in a stick. I thought this was a catfish the way it was fighting.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Ooh. Holy cow. Oh my gosh, that's a friggin' giant.
So after I caught that 21 out of that root ball, I'd only caught one fish in one root ball at the end of one shoal, so I wasn't ready to give up on everything else. So I kind of fished my way around. It had been about another hour and a half. I'd caught my limit by this point, but it was a decent limit, but I had some small fish in it. But I'd finally gotten to another similar area, the end of a shallow shoal with wood on it. And like I said, I wasn't ready to give up everything else. But at this point, I already had my limit, so I was willing to see if I could replicate that big one. If you'll notice, I'm also going back to the spinner bait. The water had kind of cleared up just a little bit the further up I got, so thought I'd give this a try. And as you can see, first cast on that piece of wood.
I mean, flat, choked. Yeah.
So at this point, I was gaining confidence about what I needed to be looking for. Big pieces of wood on the end of really flat shoals. The water I'm catching these fish in is only about 2 feet deep. So across the lake, I noticed one that was just like the one I had just caught a fish off of. It's only been a few minutes since my last fish that I caught, the 17 and a half that I had just caught. So I decided to come over here and kind of see if what I thought was right was right. I'd caught that 21, I had caught it on the first cast in that root ball, and then I had just caught that 17 and a half inch on the first cast on that piece of wood. So thought, well, we'll go over here and see what happens.
Well, what do you think about that? Crushed it.
So at this point, I know exactly what I'm looking for. I'm looking for big pieces of wood, flat, end of flat shoals. And at this point, I know I have a chance to win. Beaver Lake, my limit's creeping up towards the mid 80s. One more good fish like that, and we're going to start getting into the upper 80s. And when you can catch that on Beaver Lake, you're always tough to beat. So I knew exactly what I needed to do. I just hoped that there was enough of them to hit until I ran out of them, and I was running out of them pretty fast. But this was just one more, the next one I came to, and I wish my graph wouldn't have been in the way right here, because this was a pretty cool bite.
Yep. Sometimes there's a pattern that holds up. Another good one. Another good one.
And I should say this too about this area. You know, there's not a lot of places that are like that where I was catching those fish, but every place there was like that, I fished it, and I fished them hard. But I was only ever able to catch one fish per spot that I stopped. No matter how many casts I made or how much timber was there, that was it, just one fish. But I caught 4 good ones doing that, and those 4 ultimately were key, because I ended up winning this event with 89 3/4 inches, my first win of 2022. All right, we're going to jump ahead to our next event number 4 on Table Rock Lake. I'm actually fishing 2 events at the same time right here. 2 of them going on at the same time. We got a Moyak event going on, and then our own Natural State Kayak Anglers event. Fish count for both. So I knew I needed a good bag, because Table Rock in the spring produces some great big bags sometimes. I'd actually never been to this area before, but the water temperature was warming up. Fish were trying to move up to get ready to spawn. It's kind of dirty, so I was really focusing on casting tight to cover and making real accurate casts, but I didn't want to flip yet. It's only 20 minutes into the day, and I really wanted to try to see if I could get them to eat a moving bait. At this point, I've already caught a couple of small fish, but then this is going to be my first good fish of the day.
Boom. Ooh, that dude was barely hooked. Back here in the back of the pocket. So maybe that's a clue. It's a good one. Got tattoos all over him. $18 and a half. Good one.
So it's been a couple of hours since that 18.5-inch keeper, the tattooed fish. I have my limit at this point, and but that's the only fish that was really a good fish. There was a lot of things that I wanted to check and not completely give up on, just keep them honest, but it seemed fairly clear that the better quality fish were in the backs of these pockets. They're just, at this place, there's not a whole lot of pockets to hit. So anyway, when I finally did make it to the back of another one, I did catch another one. But whenever I set the hook on this fish, I want you to see how fast this thing shoots off to the right, out to the middle of the cove.
17 and a quarter, good one. Man, I needed that.
So at this point, I pretty much know that my best chance of doing well in this event is going to be fishing the backs of the pockets. Couple of problems. One, the wind had gotten up so big, it was mid-20s, gusting to mid-30s. So a lot of the pockets that I wanted to hit, I wasn't able to hit. So I'd actually already fished this one once, but I figured I might as well come back and try it again. And I also had to leave at 1 o'clock for this event, so I knew that I needed to try to maximize my time on the water as much as I could and fish as many high percentage areas as I could. And yeah, so that's why I came back to this pocket.
Yes. Boom. That was big.
Luckily for me, it proved to be a pretty tough day for most of the field. So yeah, I ended up coming in 4th in Natural State Kayak Anglers event and 5th in the Moyak event, and took home 2 checks and some great points. So it was a good event. All right, we're going to jump ahead to event number 5 now. This event is back on Table Rock Lake. At this point, it's about 1:30 in the afternoon, and I had already caught a ton of fish and a lot of really solid fish. Had a great time, but I had not caught anything that I would consider a good fish, even close to a kicker fish. So clock was ticking. I needed to make something happen. This was the first time I had fished any banks like this that day. They're kind of steeper than 45-degree angle banks, kind of right on the channel bend on the outside swings. But I hadn't done it at all, and I thought, well, it's not really where they're supposed to be this time of year, but we'll give them a try.
Boom. Yes. Okay. Well, we learned something right there. We learned something right there. Boom. 18 3/4. Man, we needed that bad.
We're going to go ahead and jump ahead to event number 7. Event number 6 was on Lake 10 Killer. I ended up cold in that event, so this is event number 7. And I had 2 things going against me in this event. One is I have not ever really done well historically in July and August, and this is July, and I've also never historically done that well in Roadrunners. I always seem to pick the wrong thing. So just for my own self-confidence, I needed to have something happen early. And lucky for me, this is about as early as I've ever caught a fish in a tournament. It was 5:49, something like that. So yeah, this one was a huge confidence booster.
yes, yes, yes. Okay, first one of the day, good one. 18 inches. I think I got a good pick.
So it's only been about 15 minutes from the 18 that I just caught. And if you'll notice, I started out with a spinnerbait. I don't see very well when it's really dark outside like that. And I don't like to throw topwater whenever I can't see how close I'm getting to the bank. So I'll run a spinnerbait for the first, I don't know, little bit until I can at least see where my bait is actually hitting the water. At that point, this time of the year, I always like to switch over to topwater and throw it as much as I can. So anyway, yeah, I just moved down the bank a little bit, picked up a buzzbait, and caught my second fish, and it was a great start to the day.
All right, another good one, 17 and a half.
So I ended up actually catching a few more solid fish the rest of the day. But those two were key early in the morning to keep me there. And keep me from having to move. Got my confidence up. So anyway, I ended up 5th place in this event. Another check, and on to the next one. So this is the last event of our season, event number 8. We're on Beaver Lake, and it's the middle of the worst part of summertime. I have never done well in the summer. I did not have the most confidence going into this event, but I was only 12 points in the Angler of the Year race, so I knew I needed a good finish. If I had a good finish, I felt like I could at least stay within striking distance for the Classic. And anyway, I'd already caught a few. I think I had 3 at this point. But I knew that I needed to just keep chunking and winding because I knew I needed a good score. And then this happened. So when I first made contact with this fish, I actually thought he was in the log that I'd thrown it by. And you can see I'm kind of a spaz. I just keep reeling even though he's clearly just stripping drag. I should have just let him run. I had him on a treble hooked bait. And I got pretty lucky to get this fish in the boat. I think I'd never caught a big fish before.
Well, that, oh my gosh. That's a giant. I'm talking about like a giant. I can't believe I got that fish in the boat. Boys and girls, that's a sure enough teetotal absolute giant. Giant. Thank you, big girl.
So at this point, we're actually coming down to the last little bit of the regular season. And I have a decent bag, but it's not good enough to make any headway in our Angler of the Year race, which I was so close to getting. I really tried hard to get that. But I had a few small fish and then a couple of really great big fish. But I really was trying to call. I'd caught a couple of small fish right here, and I just kind of stayed around here, and I feel like I kind of just got lucky on this one, and this guy was mixed in with some of the smaller ones. You can see the mud line that the wake boats made. I think that might have had something to do with it too.
That's it. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That is gonna do it. Whew. My right arm is cramped so tight I can't even do anything. Oh, girls and boys, that is, I can't even explain to you how nice that is. Whew. Okay. There we go. Thank you.
So that fish right there proved to be really big. That fish got me up into third place for the event with some super valuable AOY points and another check. So I feel like heading into the season classic, I have a realistic shot at this point of catching the leader.
Nothing like an old 7-inch coal.
So coming into this day, I knew that I needed to beat the leader by 3 places. I was 5 points behind. Day 1 of the classic, I had a pretty miraculous finish to the day. Caught almost my entire limit within the last hour and a half. This morning of day 2, I caught my limit really early, but I still felt like I needed that one big bite, and doing what I was doing was not producing big bites. So as you can see, I pull out the old trusty spinnerbait. That thing has been so good to me all season long. Last few hours of the day, I just felt like that I needed to ride or die with it.
Boom. Boom. All right. I don't know if that's going to be the big bass. I haven't looked today. I know it's bigger than the one yesterday. Oh, that might be the fish that wins me Angler of the Year right there. That might be her. Oh my gosh. 19 and a half. What a beautiful fish. Oh, y'all, you have no idea. I think that might have just been the fish right there. Oh, that won me Angler of the Year. Holy crap. I don't know if it is or not, so I can't get too freaking jacked up. But all right, so there we go. I had a really great time this season. Caught a lot of good fish, and I'm going to be doing some more videos kind of like this one, just reflecting back on the season that was and all the things that I did, some of the baits that I used, my mindset going into different tournaments, things of that nature. Now that we're in the off season as far as tournaments go, give me a lot of time to think back on it before we start getting ready for next year. So anyway, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.